I'm not done talking about old and mostly forgotten fighting games. No sir. Though, truth be told, I don't have nearly as much to say about the others as I apparently did about Interplay's Red-Headed Stepchild. Mostly, I wanted to talk about fighting games based on franchises, because there must be a fighting game out there for, like, every kind of interest or genre. No, really, just name it. You want a fighter with dinosaurs? It exists. A fighter with movie monsters? Yep. Noir-style cartoon women? Hand-to-hand street brawls? Superheroes? Ludicrously proportioned sword fighters? Ugly-ass mutants? Shaquille O'Neal? Tonka trucks? Balls? Every imaginable Sony character? Every imaginable Nintendo character? Except Gino, because I guess we can all just go and fuck ourselves? Half-naked women? Take your pick. Half-naked, oily, and flamboyant men? I'll have to get back to you on that one. Just kidding, it totally exists too. So it goes without saying that popular franchises are also an overabundance when it comes to fighting games, because it makes sense. Like a Ninja Turtles fighting game. It seems so obvious, and there are really only a handful, not including Turtles cameos and other fighting games. The most notable one for me being Tournament Fighters for the SNES, where each turtle has his own unique moveset, like Mikey's Hadouken Breath, Leo's Sonic Boom, Donnie's... Wait, I thought Michelangelo did that. And Raph has Tambourine. For obvious reasons. I don't get why Bebop and Rocksteady aren't here, though. And actually they are, just stuck in the background. What about Splinter, or even Casey Jones? All the characters that immediately come to mind when you think Ninja Turtles. Oh well, at least they got Shredder. And the Rat King is unlockable. Some of these other characters seem randomly picked, though. A lot are based on the Archie comics, or in Chrome Dome's case, the animated series. Would have liked to see Usagi or Mondo Gecko. Those guys were the shit. Here's a question, though. Who the hell is Asuka? She wasn't in the cartoon series, and I don't think she was ever in the comics. Well, apparently she was meant to be an insert for the third Ninja Turtles movie, but she was changed after the game developers realized the movie sucked. If that's true, then that also probably explains why she's such a terrible character to play as. And no, I'm not going to argue April O'Neil should be in this game, because she's a reporter. It would be silly. Going back to the backgrounds, some of them are pretty wild, like the pirate ship. There's a freaking Kraken in the background. It's like he was in the middle of destroying the ship and was like, oh, you guys are busy? I'll wait. What are they doing fighting on an old school pirate ship anyway? The Asian stage has a giant frog in it, because why not? And the Thunderdome stage, disappointingly, doesn't have Tina Turner as a singer. And the waitresses at the diner don't seem too thrilled about two freaks having a brawl in front of their customers. That or they're really happy. I always get a kick out of how Tournament Fighters has a watch option.
Turtle Combat!
It's just as it sounds. You select the fighters and the arena, and just watch them beat the crap out of each other. Why is this a thing? I guess so you can just sit back and root for your favorite character? Best guess I got. The point is, fighting games and popular franchises go together like peanut butter and jelly, meat and potatoes, macaroni and cheese. God, I'm hungry. So, Star Wars fighting game. What could go wrong with that? Lightsabers, force powers. You'd think there'd be a lot of examples where Star Wars dabbled in the genre, but in reality, there isn't much. Which brings us to Masters of Terras Kasai? However the hell you're supposed to say it, it's apparently Finnish for steel hand. It's weird. Is Finland part of the Star Wars canon now? It's a style of fighting meant to counter Jedi, and in the game's story, the Empire's trying to use it to kill off rebel leaders after the loss of the first Death Star. I guess having the dark side of the Force at their disposal wasn't enough for them. The name is actually dropped in the Han Solo movie.
What was that?
Terras Kasi.
Yeah, that's cute, Disney. Disown the expanded universe and then make references to it like you give a damn. And at least in that movie, they actually have Chewie rip someone's arm off. Something he should have done when his best friend was fucking murdered. Anyway, fighting games. Let's talk about the characters. Basically, the gang's all here. Luke, Han, Chewie, Leia in her bounty hunter disguise, the Fett, and a few non-movie additions like a Tusken Raider named...
Or.
The hell did you just call me? Of all the names to come up with, you had to go with the one that sounds naughty. Maybe it wasn't intentional. There's also a Gamorrean named...
Fuck. Fuck.
Nah, it was all intentional. Had to be. As far as fighting games go, I mean, it's not terrible. The controls aren't the greatest, but the combos work for the most part. Instead of relying heavily on the directional buttons, the combos utilize the circle, square, triangle, and X buttons instead. And I found it personally more reliable than trying to fat finger the D-pad, or coordinate the joystick with any sort of precision. For some reason, I just suck at doing that. Of course, each character's moveset gives them unique abilities. Like, Gamorreans can apparently summon fire, and Han can spam thermal detonators from his ass. And Leia's specialty is that she kinda sucks. No, really, she has like half the moveset all the other characters have. It's lame. Movesets are dependent on if the character has their weapon out or not, and I think what threw most people off with this game is that Luke's lightsaber doesn't just cut people in half. And melee fighters like...
Or.
And...
Fuck.
have a clear advantage over ranged fighters like Han and Chewie. But everyone has pretty decent melee combos to counteract this. Like my personal favorite, Han's Smuggler's Chain combo. An easy melee combo that not only looks cool, but ends with Han drawing his blaster, leaving him ready to use his ultimate, which fires half a dozen Seekers in the air to crash into your opponent with no way for them to defend themselves. Yeah, it's kinda cheap. But not if I'm the one doing it. It's extra satisfying if they fall off the arena. Oh yeah, there can be ring outs. It makes the game unpredictable. And by unpredictable, I mean it's janky as hell.
You win.
I bet my Wookiee.
Like most fighting games, this one also has unlockable characters, most of which are unlocked by beating the arcade mode with a certain character, which is easier said than done, as the last battle is always with Vader.
Knockout. You lose. You lose. Knockout. You lose.
Who's a cheating bastard? Literally.
There was no father.
Luckily, in my youth, I developed a system to beat Vader that I still remember to this day. See, holding the directional button away from your opponent will perform a block, like most games. Unlike most games, however, blocking an attack doesn't do anything to your health bar, even if you're blocking a lightsaber with nothing but your forearms. Even on the hardest difficulty, Vader will predictably attack, then wait a split second before attacking again. So beating him is really only a matter of holding the back button and attacking as soon as he's done attacking you.
Ring out. You win.
Beating the game with Han unlocks the Stormtrooper, who's kinda lame as he's just a reskinned Han. Beating it with Leia unlocks Slave Leia, who is still just Leia, but now looks extra awful thanks to the blocky graphics.
Nice try.
Woof. And, of course, beating it as Luke gives you Darth Vader, who thankfully isn't just a reskinned Luke and has his own special moves, like an ultimate that basically wins any match with one use. By far the craziest unlockable character, though, is if you highlight Team Mode on the menu and hold L1, L2, and R1. Then the game will select a team of fighters to fight with and against. Win these fights, and you unlock Mara Jade. Yeah, check it out. Mara frickin' Jade only existed in the expanded universe before Disney blasted it all to hell. The Emperor's right-hand assassin, the wielder of a purple lightsaber before old Windu stepped onto the scene. Luke's freaking wife. I don't know. I think it's cool. Anyway, before I go on another Star Wars tirade, what about that Final Fantasy fighter I never played? You know, I'm a fan of the Final Fantasy games, but Soul Children of the Eternal Song, or whatever the hell it's called, it never really appealed to me. That and I never owned a PSP. but I have played a fighting game with Final Fantasy characters before. Guys, God Bless the Ring. An oddball of a PlayStation fighting game, like most of them. I'm pretty sure my best friend owned this game, solely because it had Final Fantasy VII characters in it, but they seem more squeezed in as a slapdash attempt to increase sales. I'm only assuming that's why they're in this game, but it makes sense. If you had the option to play as Cloud, Tifa, Vincent, or Sephiroth, then why would you instead pick Yo-Yo Cop or Gropey McBullcut? I guess Suzuki is kinda cool, a sci-fi ninja-like character. He reminds me a lot of Yoshimitsu from Tekken, who also reminds me a lot of Yoshimitsu from Soul Calibur. Holy shit, he's the same character! I've never made the connection before. It's sad, really. After playing Guys for a bit, I just want there to be more Final Fantasy VII characters. Like Sid, or Barret. There's a dog type thing, so I guess he's kinda like Red 13. Oh no, Red 13, what have they done to you? What kind of subtitle is God Bless the Ring, anyway? I'm pretty sure God had nothing to do with this abomination. Though that does remind me of something. Now, if you can, I want you to imagine the most insane fighting game premise ever created by man. A game so bizarre, it only ever existed in the dark and dingy alleys of the internet. Now we're talking weird, man, like the fever dream of a serial killer clown weird. A back-asswards concoction conceivable only by the craziest of motherfucking crazies. A fighting game that could have only been conceived by the fiery pits of hell. Okay, maybe it isn't all that, but it is pretty bonkers. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Bible Fight. The game is exactly how it sounds. Figures from the Bible duking it out Street Fighter style, complete with moves that correspond to their stories. Noah can create a flood, Moses uses the plagues, Eve can summon Adam, Mary is just beating the crap out of Jesus with baby Jesus in her arms. This is just so surreal. Look, who came up with this sacrilegious sock fest? Oh, and of course there's an unlockable character, the Lord Almighty himself, who's just a mimic fighter who can transform into other characters. Yeah, a fighting game where God and Satan can duke it out. From what I understand from the footage I gathered, Satan is just plain broken, and can beat anyone just by spamming his regular attack over and over. Yeah, Satan is cheap, and playing as him is easy mode. How appropriate. And yet, somehow, I doubt the creators intended it. That's all the characters, by the way, just the 7. I get that this is all meant to be a joke, but really, they kind of missed out on some obvious character choices. Like, where's Samson, David, Goliath? You know, characters who actually fought in the Bible? If you didn't know already, or if it wasn't obvious from just looking at it, this was a web browser game from nearly a decade ago on Adult Swim's website. Back in those days, the Adult Swim site had some pretty great games. Most, of course, had comedic elements to it, and they were good for a laugh every now and then. Hell, I still play Amateur Surgeon 3 on my tablet. But, sadly, these are all Flash games, and Flash is now dead. So finding a way to play them these days is a lost cause. I did find a site that supposedly lets you play old Flash games, but they wanted me to download a browser extension, which does nothing. I've tried other sites, removing and re-downloading the extension. This game, to put it simply, has met Judgment Day. I have found absolutely no way to play it. Figures. Yeah, leave it to me to remember some old Flash game that might as well not exist anymore. What a fucking tease. I was getting kinda hyped to play it for footage, but I guess I wasn't missing much. As on the site I just mentioned, most of the comments for this game just complain about the shitty controls. Yeah, no kidding. An arcade-style fighter on keyboard isn't ideal? Huh, could've fooled me. I complain about trying to pull off combos with a D-pad. Yeah, try doing it with the arrow keys. So, obviously I had to resort to using footage other people uploaded, which itself was a pain because good luck finding anyone else who's bothered talking about this game. Okay, I'll admit it. I just wanted an excuse to talk about Bible Fight. Because when else am I going to be able to bring it up? It doesn't really fit the theme of this video, unless you can call the Bible a franchise. I don't know, I've gone way off topic now. There's another game I was going to talk about. crap. I lost my train of thought talking about frickin' Bible fight. What was it?